Your brain is just like Siri, except the mean version, because it will answer whatever question you keep asking it. So if you ask it, why am I such a loser? Why am I failing? Your brain will gladly give you all of the evidence and remind you of every single reason it wants to be right. Because our identity is a moment to moment intentional choice. And so if you feel like your life, the story of your life has evidence against you, and it leads you to blaming your past, this episode is for you, because today I sit down with my friend Markus, a man who went from broke, bullied, and empty to hearing God say to him, where you're going, no one knows you. So what if you decided to be the man I wanted you to be? And the action that he took to answer that question created a life that he could barely dream of. And we unpack all the way on the story and how the story that we keep repeating about ourselves is either destroying us or serving us, and how to start asking better questions about who you're becoming and why consistency beats talent every single time. So if something in you knows, if you feel it, that you were created for more than what you're currently living, I invite you to lean into this episode. So let's get into it with my brother Markus. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Mind of George Show. I have to own that this is my first episode recording in the new year after, 3 countries, 8 time zones, and it feels so good to be home. And I couldn't think of a better person to welcome me home to be doing a podcast with him. Before I even let him speak, if you're watching the video, hopefully the team just has my face on, but I just want to paint the picture real quick. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody or been in somebody's presence, and then within a matter of seconds, you felt like you knew that person forever? You wanted them to be your best friend, your father, your grandfather, your mentor, your coach, your cheerleader, all in the same moment. And you're like, I'm in. Like that's today's guests. I say that with the utmost respect, where I remember meeting this incredible gentleman and I was like, I just want you to hold me in a very platonic, masculine way, potentially pet my head, but just tell me it's going to be okay. And I'll do it with you, because the level of safety I feel, the level of connection I feel, the level of presence I feel. And so I'm incredibly excited to welcome my friend Markus to the show. So Markus, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, brother. Oh, George, I love you, brother. Oh, and
Thank you, brother.
I'm telling you, I've been on maybe 200 podcasts or so now. That was literally my favorite introduction ever. Oh, man, are we set up for a good show or what?
Thank you, brother.
Brother, thank you for having me. Thank you for spending this time with me, man. I've just been looking forward to hanging out with you again. Yeah, this is gonna be an awesome blessing for me.
It's a gift. And for everybody listening, Markus and I, met, we had, somebody incredible introduce us. We had a couple of Zoom calls and I was like, I need more time with you. And I was like, but selfishly, I feel like people are going to get mad at me if I don't record this and share that time with everybody else. And so I was like, can you please come on the podcast? He's like, of course, let's do it. And so I'm really, really excited to have you. And, for everybody listening, I want to give some context just real quick before we dive in. Markus is absolutely incredible. Even before we hit record, we have danced in the same circles. We have so many mutual friends, so many shared values, but I'm also very, very humbled that he would take the time to be here. He is a serial entrepreneur. He's an investor in multiple companies. He's built multiple of his own 8 and 9 figure companies, one scaling to multiple 9 figures in global sales. He's an incredible author of the Play Bigger Game, which I'm sure we'll get into, the 7 universal principles to experience real fulfillment and win at life. He owns ownership in 40 plus companies, pro sports teams. He's impacted over 10 million customers. He takes a faith-driven approach. Philanthropy is at the front of his heart. He's been featured in Forbes, USA Today, CNN, PBS, and Fox News. And so if I was to put a bow on this and a fortune cookie, I would say he's my Yoda. And so I am here to learn. I don't even watch Star Wars, but I'm going with Yoda. I think it's Padawan on the other side. I'll be the Luke Skywalker. But I'm honored to have you, my friend. So thank you again.
You're amazing, man. You are amazing. Listen, after all of that pumping me up, I would love to start off with what a loser I was for so many years. And I think it's important that we go there, because I would hate for people to tune me out right now or tune out our conversation that's like, all right, this guy with the silver spoon in his mouth. Yeah, life's been so hard for you and all your big companies. So why don't we go back to who I was? Because
Please.
if you hear any other story today other than if this guy can do it, anybody can do it. If you hear anything but that story, you need to re-listen to this episode, because that's what this is really about. And that's what I believe God's message is through my life is I'm going to take this guy who thought he was in every way a zero and acted in every way a zero. In every result was a zero, but made a choice to go, I was created for way more than I'm experiencing. And I hope you guys hear those words in your heart. You were created for something so amazing. I don't care about your history. I don't care who you think you are today. If you've got something in you that's like, I think he's talking to me. I think I might be that guy who was created for something more. No, I know I am. There's something in my gut that says who I am today is not who I was created to be. This episode is for you. And we're going to give you some real tangible action items to start doing today. Not tomorrow, not like, oh, that sounds nice, I'll start putting it in the planner. You're going to do it today. I don't pause the podcast and go, I'm doing it right now. And I'm psyched to have that conversation with you, George. We're going to pull something wonderful out of people today.
I love it, my friend. I'm in. Take me back. Take me back to the beginning.
Let's do that. So first 15 years of my life were so bad. I grew up in a home that we didn't experience love. And by the way, I hold nothing against my parents for this. In fact, let me start with, I'm really grateful for the parents I had because they played their roles perfectly in my life. If I didn't have what I had, I wouldn't be the man I am today. And I know that for a fact. So how can I not be super grateful? But that said, my father was pretty much never in my life. He was one of those 80s, 90s rich guy dads who was all work, all business, no family. And when they officially divorced when I was 7, now he was really gone. And my mom, who was on her road to being a nun, who had no intention of ever having children, became a mom, didn't really want to be a mom. Those are her words, not mine. Now dad is out of the picture. She now has to go to school full-time and work full-time to take care of these 4 kids that I didn't really want. So I didn't have a mom around. That was tough. And I was so skinny. Oh man, we were poor. We did not have money. I saw my mom cry about money every single day. That really screwed a young Markus up. Not having a dad around screwed a young Markus up. And I blamed him for everything. If anyone out there doesn't have a good relationship with their dad, which I know that's lots of you, I know what I'm talking about when I say I blamed him for literally everything. Oh, I'm not good at relationships. Didn't have a dad. I'm not good with money. I didn't have a dad. I'm too tall. I didn't have a dad. What? It was my excuse for everything. I didn't treat people right. Didn't have a dad. I got caught stealing. Didn't have a dad. It was bad. And for 15 years, I thought nothing of myself. I believed everything that was said about me. I believed what the bullies said about me. I was 6'4", 120 pounds. Calm down, ladies. It's true. Just to give you an idea, I'm about the same height and I'm 100 pounds heavier today. Like pull 100 pounds off of this guy. It was rough. And shocking, I had no confidence. But there's this beautiful moment in my story. I'm 15 years old. My father came back into the picture and said, hey, I'm taking my new family to Hawaii. Would you like to come? Well, of course I'm going to say yes. I've been on a trip. Yes. And on that plane ride, it was the first time that I can remember that I heard the voice of God. And God said the most simple thing to me. He goes, where you're going, no one knows you. So what if You decided to be the man I wanted you to be and
Mm.
not who others told you to be. And I hope you guys hear that message. Hear it right now from my voice, suggesting that you can decide to be that person today. No matter what's happened yesterday and all the days before, no matter who you think you are conditioned to be, you can make a choice right now. I'm going to change. It was so amazing, George. With every cell of my body, I believed what God, I mean, it was God. And so every cell in my body was like, oh my goodness, I will change. And for me, the most important thing at that moment, and honestly, it's probably still today, I was like, I have zero confidence. If I was a man of confidence, that would be pretty cool. Well, here's the thing. What does a man of confidence look like? Oh, well, to have his shoulders back, that's for sure. And I'm going to make better eye contact and I'm going to speak with a little bit of authority. None of those things require anything but a decision. I'm going to pull my shoulders back. I'm going to have my chest up. I'm going to make eye contact. I'm going to shake hands with a nice firm grip. When I stepped off that plane, that's who I was. It didn't matter who I was when I stepped on the plane. Everybody accepted me for who I was presenting. Now, you might go, okay, were you faking it? This doesn't sound necessarily like integrity or alignment. I'd like to challenge you to say, this is who I was actually designed to be. The other me was out of alignment. The other me had no integrity. This me was actually the real me. And I loved who I was, and I loved the results. It was crazy. I was hanging out with the coolest kids. I was getting dates. I hadn't had a girl look at me. Like, it was insane to me. In fact, I think you'll appreciate this. The first girl I went on a date with there was a head cheerleader, and her name was Charity. Come on, Charity? That's how I know God has a sense of humor. So from that moment forward, I went, I'm never going to listen to what others say. I'm not going to let them dictate who I am. He made me for a very specific purpose. I'm going to do everything I can to become that man.
Okay. I have so many thoughts and questions,
Let's go,
and
bro.
I'm gonna narrow this down because I feel and I resonate so deeply with what you shared. And you just said something that I wrote down, and I said identity is a moment to moment intentional choice.
Oh, please. That is so
And
perfect.
I resonate so deeply, and I imagine everybody listening does, because when we talk about that life, that background, that story, I'm thinking about my own. Same thing, like homeless, getting here how I got here through addictions, through combat, through all of those things. And I remember having that feeling inside of me of like, even going back to like 13, like I'm meant for something greater. But one of the things I struggled with was the dissonance. It was
Yeah.
the gap between what I thought I deserved, how God created me, and like where I actually was. And so that feeling of distance overwhelmed me so much that I did nothing, and it just kept the hole getting deeper and deeper. And I really boiled it down to two different things. Number one was forgiveness played a huge part for me, right? Like changing my view of the hand from like, these cards suck to I can still win the game with these. And there's a reason they were given to me. It reminds me of like, I used to play poker. Doyle Brunson's like 2-7 favorite hand. And in the world of poker, you're like, what are you doing? Right. But the guy's a legend for it. And the second thing, which just hit me when you were speaking, and I would love for you to talk about when you were like, am I faking it? One of the things was, is I was so endowed and so comfortable to the old story, and still today, sometimes struggle with this self-admittedly, that I felt like an imposter when I would try to be confident or change how I was when I went into a room, or like, I'm going to go be different in this business meeting. I'm going to speak with confidence. I'm going to speak with certainty. And then I would have that voice, not of God, but of the devil.
Yeah.
Well, who are you to speak that way? What evidence do you have? You've never done this before. You can't do X. You don't belong in that room. And that's probably the gap that I got stuck in the longest. And so I would love your thoughts on that gap.
Oh my goodness. Those are two beautiful threads. So let's get to the one you want to first, but we have to come back to forgiveness because man, that's a powerful conversation. I'm going to answer your question with something you brought up already because of your brilliance, so I have to, is identity. You have to shift your identity. And I just want to encourage everybody. You might have heard my story. It was, of course, a very condensed version. And you go, is it that easy? It's simple. It's not that easy. It's simple because first, just make the choice to go, is your old story about yourself, your old identity, is it serving you in any way? If your answer is yes, great, keep it. You apparently don't think there's any issues with that. And I'm not saying you're broken. I'm not saying you have to change. No, it's your decision. If you believe there's more for you in life, or you were created for more, or you could be in bigger service to others, okay, well, listen to me on this one. I run everything through the filter of, does that story serve me? And man, does it answer questions so beautifully. So this identity that I had for all those years, which is like, I'm fatherless, I don't really have people who love me, I'm not a very confident guy. Man, how is that going to serve you at all? I'll tell you right now, we all have stories, we all have our backstory, that there's pieces of the identity that we hold on to. And we believe that the sympathy that we receive from anybody is of value. Oh, you poor thing. Oh, George, you poor thing. And of course, as a young man, I'm like, oh yeah, poor me, yeah. But then as I got older, I'm like, what is that worth to me? Oh, it is nothing. In fact, it is so negative. What I'm really saying when I'm like, oh, George, poor you, is I expect nothing of you. George, you go ahead and sit and have a cozy life. You're okay. We don't expect anything. You're not very strong. I'm not that kind of dad. Oh my goodness, no. Especially because the harder the stuff I had to go through, the stronger I became. And to get over that stuff allows me to give strength to the other people who are still stuck over there. I somehow got over this mountain, and now I'm holding the rope at the top going, you guys can do it. Come on, I'm pulling, I'm helping you. I'm not going to do it for you, but I can show you how I got up here. So is your story serving you? Is the story you're telling about your identity serving you? And just change it immediately and take action immediately on fulfilling that new identity. So for me, I was like, I'm a confident guy. Okay. You can kind of fake that for a moment. But then I had to immediately start answering the question, okay, what would it take for me to walk around with that kind of confidence all the time? You already know the answers. This is my favorite part of me explaining this, is the answers are in you and you know them for a fact. If you pretend, well, I don't really know you're pretending. You do know. So here's the first answer for me. And honestly, a lot of you listening, this will be the first answer for you too. And it should be. I want to be a more confident guy all the time. Okay. I want a better body. I want to have confidence in my body. I don't exercise much. I'm so freaking skinny. It's so embarrassing. I almost want to keep my shirt on at the beach. And by the way, because I just identified as a confident guy, I'm still 120 pounds, 6'4" at this point. I'm pulling my shirt off. I'm like, you're welcome, ladies. I literally had this girl say to me, she goes, this is a direct quote, by the way. Markus, I'm so amazed by your confidence. To be honest, any guy I've ever met with a body like yours didn't have any confidence. She said, you don't deserve the confidence you have with the body you have. And I got it and I laughed it off. I'm like, you know what? That's totally cool. This is who I am. So I started working out. Working out does so much for your confidence. It's so much more than just, I have a nice body. It's the journey. I want to be so strong in this point with you, everybody. It is not when you get the body, then you will be confident. No. You need to celebrate every little win. You got a workout in today? That's awesome. I went and worked out today. Man, I deserve to be confident. I deserve to be confident because I just did what most people are not willing to do. And then I ate a good meal after. Oh, now I'm a super confident guy. Those things will yield results over time, but more importantly than how you look, it's how you feel. I got the
Mhm.
blood flowing. I'm telling myself I deserve that confidence. And now I'm going to walk in with just a little bit more of this. And the world will receive you that way. Not everyone. I need to be so clear on this point. Not everyone. In fact, the people who are closest to you are probably going to be the ones who fight you the most on this.
Yep.
And you already know I'm right. You've got family members, you've got a spouse who's like, oh, I've seen you do this before, George. I give you 2 weeks this time. Wow, thanks for that. How about instead of going, oh, this guy's probably right about me, go, man, thank you for that. You just threw a log onto my fire. I'm going to burn so much hotter. I'm going to prove you wrong. Not for a negative reason. Let's not get into the negative, but to be like, you know what? I appreciate that. Here's the story I'm going to tell.
Mhm.
I want to prove how awesome I am by taking your negative words and turning them into something positive. And if you want to influence those people that you love in your life, like your spouse, your kids, whoever, show them what it means to be healthy. Be the leader. Influence them that way. Don't just talk about it. Oh, well, I've worked out 4 days in a row. What have you guys done? How's that worked out for anyone ever? It does
Mhm.
not. But I'll tell you with perfect certainty, when you show them the benefits of this amazing life, my energy, the way people receive me, the way I walk into a room, the way I wear clothes, people notice.
Yep.
And they might not admit it after 1 week or 1 month or even a year, but they all come around. And it's so cool. I'm telling you, it is one of the most cool things to watch people who've been fighting you for years when they start going, I always believed in you. And
Mhm.
you're like, what? Yeah, I'm right. But you know what? I'm going to let you have your story because I don't need you to support me in that way. But I love that you came around.
Mm. Okay. We're gonna get to forgiveness. We are, but there's some like Queen's Gambit happening in my head right now, and I wanna summarize and also share because you hit so many poignant topics that land so deeply for me, and I think
Mm,
for everybody listening to put this into practical application. Because one of the things that I wrote down is the story that we believe about ourselves is the story that everybody else sees,
ooh,
and you gave a tangible place and an example of like, I'm going on a flight to Hawaii, so I get to choose. New audience, new story, you get to install it cleanly. If you're listening to this, this could be a barista at a coffee shop. It could be a server at a restaurant. It could be a stranger that you walk
yes,
up and compliment.
yes.
Because when we condition other people around us and constantly tell them and they feel that same story that we believe about ourselves, just because
Mhm.
we change, to your point, doesn't mean that they see the change.
Really
And at
good.
times it can be harder to practice with those people. And so you build your confidence, momentum, and identity in places where your story hasn't been written, where it doesn't precede you, which is what builds your confidence and momentum.
Yes.
And I want to tie this together because I think it's fair to say, like, when we talk about identity, identity is a big word. And I think for me, one of the reasons I struggled for so long was because I thought I should know what that identity was. And instead of just accepting and saying, I don't know, but I'm curious to find out, I got
Mm,
stuck in the I don't know, so I'm going to do nothing.
yeah.
And one of my biggest breakthroughs in life came when I actually just simply sat down and a lot of alone time. And I was like, who do I want to become? Like, who do I want to be? And it
Yes.
was when I read in my Bible in Matthew, like, don't judge him by his words, judge him by his fruits. And as my survival mechanism from being a child and living the way that I lived, my words were my protective mechanism. I could speak my way into anything. I could talk about it. I could position it. I could do it. But yet, at the height of my career, I was 270 pounds at 5'7". And I had every material possession you could imagine, except I was dead on the inside. And then for my 40th birthday, I became in the best shape of my life. But that fulfillment came from actually allowing my words not to speak. And it's so cliche, but like there's a reason I have 2 ears and one mouth. Like speaking is not the predominant thing I should be doing. It's showing.
Oh,
And so
beautiful.
I wanted to say this because I think if you're listening to this and this was just, I submit, take this if this lands, you're in one of two places. You feel called to know that you're meant for something greater and you know what that looks like. Or even better, you feel called for something greater and you don't know what that looks like yet.
Amen.
Both are a beautiful, beautiful place
Beautiful.
because it's like going to a new country where you're like, I've never had this food before. Try it all. See what you like, see what you don't like. And then
I
whatever
love
one
it.
you like, go order more of it, but also
Yes.
practice it
Oh, so good.
and practice it because I think it's, you said this earlier at the very beginning where it's like, this isn't delay it. This isn't, oh, next week, next month, how can I plan this to be perfect? I just did a feedback exercise with 3 people in my life, a 360 feedback exercise. And one of the pieces of feedback that the people close to me called me out on is that I try to feel my way into acting instead of acting my way into feeling.
Ooh, wow.
And so in certain areas, I'll wait for the ducks to line up or it to look a certain way or to be a certain way to take the action
Yeah.
instead of recognizing that the actions I take intentionally are what create that feeling.
Beautiful.
And so there's no delaying it. And so I wanted to share that with everybody listening because I think it's a beautiful place to look at it and be like, you know what? I don't know my identity. I don't know who I want it to be. I don't know what I want it to look like. And there's a multitude of reasons. One of them might be like you've never been taught to dream that way. You've never been curious since you were a child. You thought that I want to be an astronaut when I was 7 was wrong, but truthfully it's the most beautiful thing. And the big piece that landed for me is when you look at me from the outside in, people celebrate me for all these things that I accomplished. But all those accomplishments were me trying to earn the value of the world through things that I was trying because I never got my identity through God. So the businesses, the world records, the achievements, the Marine, the highlight reel
Yeah.
was my struggle in public because I wanted the world to dictate who I was and to give me acknowledgement for that and to give me feedback for that. And it wasn't until I built a relationship with God that I knew who my true identity was. And the last
Mm,
piece I want to land with for your thoughts is I realized that all that practicing, what it really gave me was authenticity.
really good.
And that authenticity is the thing that resonates true, that allows me to sleep at night and allows me to
Mm,
put my head on the pillow and allows me to face situations that used to scare me. But a lot of the struggles that I faced in my life weren't because they were struggles. It's because I didn't have a sense of self. And so they knocked me off course. And that authenticity is the thing that rings true the deepest for me, which is this continuous curiosity of my identity because none of it is
yes.
solid. The beautiful thing about a story is the moment I tell it, if I don't like the page, I can highlight through it, I can white it out, and I can replace a new word. I can
Mm,
replace a new sentence. I can replace a new behavior. And I think we live in a world that is almost conditioning people to pause and to doubt instead of to act for your own agency and regard. And so I just wanted to share that.
I love that, brother. And it just resonated with me so much and why we connect so well. We don't have to jump into this very much, but from the ages of 15, when I started that new journey, until 23, I did a very similar journey to what you're talking about, which was let's accomplish everything that the world says is important stuff. And I did. I started some cool businesses. I made some really good money, dated some girls that others thought were amazing. And at the age of around 23, I was like, this none of this lights me up. Like, this is what I've as far as the world is concerned, like, check that box, check that box. This guy's winning. And inside I'm going, this is not winning. I promise you this is not winning. At best, I'm living 7 out of 10, even
Mhm.
though world standards is 11 out of 10. And then you nailed it. I had God in my life, but I hadn't given my life over to God. And it
That
was that moment. It was that moment, and I still remember I remember this moment so well. I was like, "God, I know you've been chasing me my whole life. I know you've been there. I know you've been right there with me. I know you love me, And I got nothing to show for doing it my way. And by the way, I'm so glad you've let me get to this point, because I don't want any of this. It's it. From this moment forward, this is your life in its entirety. Nothing happens without me consulting you first and you telling me which path. And no surprise, my life got all the way better, all the way more amazing. Within 4 months, he let me see the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life, who has now been my amazing bride of over 21 years, who I'm obsessed with. Within 4 months of marrying her, he gave me my first massive business, which turned into something insane and led me on an insane path. And so all I can do is give every moment of every day to him and just see what he wants me to do with it.
By the way, I just have to say this for everybody listening. I could keep Markus on this podcast for 8 hours and do this 65 times from Sunday. So I'm going to utilize restraint and keep my notes, and I will bring him back. I will strong harm him in. This is public. So I'm like, just going to have him publicly agree we do this again, because I could do this all day. There's 2 threads that we've opened, and I want to dive into both of them. We talked
George,
about...
I have to jump in. Because you're so right. We're about to go on to these other threads, but there was one last thread on the identity piece that we have to... Okay. Because this is like really tangible, actionable. You can do this right now. If you've heard George and I talking and you're like, okay, I agree, I want to change my identity. My identity is not serving me. I say the wrong things about myself. I talk poorly about myself, whatever it is. I'm going to give you one sentence that's going to change everything. Ask better questions. If you start asking better questions, your life is going to change. So the best way I describe this, in my opinion, your brain is just like Siri. And if you say to Siri, why am I such a loser? Siri doesn't go, oh, Markus, no, you're not a loser. George, no. Here's all the reasons you're not. No, it's like, oh, yeah, here's some data for you. You're a loser because remember that girl who insulted you? Remember the guy who pantsed you? Remember getting beaten up? Remember the bullies say, bah, 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 bah. Okay, you keep asking that question. How does that make you feel? And think about all the negative questions you ask about yourself. Those questions are destroying you every day. And then now I want you to go back to the original question I asked you to ask, which is this serving me? It's not. So if you said, hey, Siri, why am I destined to win? You will now pull up all the great things. Now, right now, I know some of you are trying to tune me out. If I asked that, I wouldn't have a single answer. That's a lie. You know it's a lie. You have just been focusing on the negative stuff. And of course, that's the first stuff in your mind. Negative, negative, negative. Here's all the reasons I'm a loser. Force yourself to sit down, turn off your phone, don't look at social media, tune everything else out, and write down 10 reasons you are awesome. 10 reasons you are destined to succeed. Do it. Pause the podcast. Do it right now. And look at those answers and reflect on them. If you got 10 pretty easy, do another 10. Look at how good that list is. Mm-hmm. Which story is serving you? Focusing on the negative, you already have been down that path. If you know you've been called to something more, you know that something in my story, something in George's story is like, there's something there that's part of my story. This is how we turn the corner. Look at George nodding his head. He knows that this is what we both did. Why am I destined to succeed? Why am I going to be a winner in life? What have I been made for that's awesome? Just like Siri, you're only going to come up with the right answer. Sure, a negative answer might still come into your head, and that's okay. You don't have to guilt yourself, but you go, you know what? Not right now. I'm going to gently let that come in and out. I only want good answers on here. And you look at that list, you know it's all true as well. The question is, which list of these 2 lists do you want to focus on? Which list will serve you and help you become the person you are destined to be? And then do something about it every single day.
Yes. And to summarize into the transition, it's because you're either letting the world write your story or you're creating the space to write your own.
Boom.
And every story starts with a blank page.
Yes.
But if before you start, it's Instagram, it's what somebody said about me, it's this previous interaction, you're trying to write your story in the gaps of everybody else's and you can't tell yours. And so this is really, really important because you're always being influenced. As my friend Jim Quick said, your brain is a supercomputer and every single thing that touches it is writing the program.
Yeah.
But the reason that I struggled with identity for so long is because I never cleared the memory and created the space for me to program it itself.
Oh, buddy. Yes.
That requires space. That means no social, no Instagram, no podcast, no books, no TV, just space. And for me, that's where I hear the voice of God. Do you think it's an accident that that day you're so stressed and you drive in silence that magically 15 minutes in, you get a thought you've never had before?
Mm.
You think at 6 a.m. you woke up and you're like, hey, at 2:32 p.m., I want to install this thought. No, you have to create the page itself for God to fill in your identity. And so clear the space and have the patience to wait or to explore so that you can start to unpack that identity. And so that's the biggest part for me, which is actually the transition, because there's two things that we've alluded to. And the marketer in me is using alliterations all day, which was forgiveness and fulfillment.
Mm.
And when it comes to forgiveness, what I realized is that I was creating the space for the page, but I wouldn't forgive the people who wrote the page. And so I couldn't delete the words.
Yeah.
And so I would love to hear your thoughts and your perspective on forgiveness.
Mm. Brother, I just love what you just said. And we use different words, but we're saying the exact same thing. Until you forgive, your story will always be a negative and incorrect story, and it will never serve you. So allow me to share. I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable here. The toughest story for me to change was about my father. I already alluded to it, man. It was my excuse for literally everything. And it caused so much pain. And I saw it cause pain in my brothers and sisters and my mom. And again, I could blame my dad, and I did for so many years. And how could I forgive? It's his fault, his fault, his fault. And I know so many people are listening going, yeah, my dad was a piece of whatever too. You have to change this story, because look at the negativity and look at the negative energy you pour towards it constantly. And I know what I'm talking about because I did this for over 30 years. The negative energy always. God left me in that for something like 34 years. I think it was my 34th year on this earth that everything changed, because he showed me why, and he showed me how to change my story.
Mm-hmm.
I met my father-in-law when I was 24 years old. That same year that I turned it over to the Lord, no surprise. I called him dad from the actual first time I met him. There was something about him I just loved. I loved his wife, Heather, and I called her mom. And they saw brokenness in me that they were like, come on in here, son. And they're just like, George, they're the most beautiful Christian parents on the planet. And I had so much respect for Brian. I had so much love for him. And it's because of that respect and love and the way they looked at me that Brooke fell in love with me. I'm 34 years old, so I've been married to Brooke at that point for 9 years or so, maybe 10. And God goes, if you hadn't had the father you had, and you showed up to that door with a guy who had a great dad, how would you have looked at Brian? And maybe I would have been respectful. Maybe I would have, hello, Mr. Larson. A pleasure to meet you, sir. Maybe. But I would not have been as broken as I was. when I said dad to him, I think he heard what I was saying. Man, do I need a dad? I've never even had a dad.
Mm.
So I'm grasping onto anybody who resembles a dad. And they took me in as son. And it's because of that, because of how I looked at him, because of how he looked at me, that Brooke looked at me the way she did.
Mm.
And God showed me this one thing. Had I not shown up that way, had I not been that broken, I wouldn't get to have this love with this amazing woman, and I wouldn't have these two amazing children. So if I can go back and change my story and have a dad who is super loving and present and always around, you think I would change that even 1%? Not a chance. What a gift it was to have the father I had.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Eugene, for playing the role perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Because of him, because of you, Dad, I became the man that stood in front of Bryant and said, I'm broken and I need a dad. Brooke, I love your dad. Brooke, I love you. And she loved me. What a great story. Do you see how empowering that is? What a difference from this is how you screwed me up. This is all your fault to thank you. You did this for me. Oh, please, people, if you can get even 1% of the way there today. And I want to just say this really quick. Just because you thank the person and say this was for me, it doesn't mean you agree with what they did or support what they did. No, you just accept that it is what it is. It happened already. You can't change what happened. You just accept it happened. And I'm grateful that it happened because I wouldn't be who I am without that.
Mm. And forgiveness is not black and white.
No.
It is a pursuit
Amen.
of varying depths. But when you don't forgive, it's like signing up for a marathon, hiring somebody for 12 months to put you through a training protocol that you can't stand, getting your body and your mind to a place, but then never showing up to run the race and pick up your reward.
Oh.
That's what forgiveness stops us for. And as kids and as adults and as humans, whole other podcast on us choosing our parents, but that's besides the point. That path already happened. The training protocol was there. You choosing to forgive and to pursue forgiveness is what allows you to pick up the medal.
Yes.
And build your identity.
Yes.
And that for me lands so deeply because ironically, this leads into fulfillment. Because the other side of forgiveness was I had a page full of everybody else's stories. I went for the accomplishments. I couldn't write my own page, but I was convinced I was the king of gaslighting myself. I'm like, but this is the thing, or this is the thing, or this is the thing. And forgiveness blocked my fulfillment, or a lack of forgiveness blocked my fulfillment. Because without forgiveness, I was chasing all the wrong things because I was trying to prove their stories right or wrong. And for me, fulfillment only came with the ultimate surrender. It wasn't the accolades. It wasn't the New York Times bestseller. It wasn't all of those things. It was actually my perspective and choices and how I navigated those things that gave me fulfillment, which is all tied to my identity.
Yes.
It wasn't, did I create the result? It was, how did I go about this as a man? How did I talk to people? How did I hold myself? And I realized that the combination of all of them is like I had access to fulfillment anytime I wanted it. But it came on the other side of forgiveness, which allowed me to create my identity. And then I weighed my fulfillment on the integrity of my identity, not the results that it created.
Beautiful.
And so for somebody who has had what some would, and me 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even 7 years ago would look at on paper and be like, if I had all those things that Marcus has or has had, I'd have fulfillment.
Hmm.
Like, what are your thoughts or what's your perspective on fulfillment now? Because you've lived on both sides.
Yeah. On paper, I think anybody would look at my life and go, that checks every single box. And it's funny, even though I have followed God's plan for my life. You know what? I want to start there actually, because you just said it, and I'm going to just say it in different words. I'm going to say it in my words that when you say fulfillment, it's fulfilling what this was designed for on this planet. There's only one entity who can tell you that. It's the one who designed you. It's the one who created you. He knows what you were created for and where you fit in. And yeah, I tried to figure it out on my own. Yeah, I tried to listen to the world and go, oh, yeah, money. Nope. Business, accolades, this trophy, this. Nope. It's only when I surrendered, like you said, I love that word, surrender. I surrendered and go, okay, not my will, yours. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. Oh my goodness. All the money in the world can't make you feel like that. And what's so awesome is when you really surrender to it, it doesn't matter if you have $1 or $200 billion. You're like, oh, I'm fulfilled. So it's such a beautiful place to come to. And it's a constant journey because I'm still living in the world. And I love it. Jesus prayed, don't pull them out of the world, keep them in the world so that they can help others. I'm still in this world. And once in a while, I start getting distracted by like, oh, extra. And I achieve something. And I'm like, well, this will be even a different level of fulfillment. Oh, nope. Not even 1% more. Actually, I feel like I slid back a little bit. And then I go, oops, your will be done. Ah, fulfillment. Yeah, bro.
Mm. It reminds me of, well, two things. Number one is I have a thought on forgiveness because one of the things that I did is I suffered in silence.
Oh, yeah.
So when it came to identity, my solitude was the biggest trap that I lived in
Mm.
because I was like, I can't tell Marcus until I'm healed,
Oh, yeah.
until I'm on the other side. I can't share what I'm afraid over the fact that I don't have one because of that solitude. And I heard my pastor say this a couple weeks ago, and I broke down in tears because forgiveness I'd always seen as like, I'm broken. I need to fix myself to earn your love or to earn your
Mm.
friendship or to earn the accolade. And Levi said, only God can forgive, but healing happens in the church. And what that means is that no one can forgive you. Only God can forgive you.
Mm.
But once that forgiveness is done, the game isn't over. The game has just begun. And it's the people you surround yourself and open up to, like for Marcus, your father in law, your incredible partner, that then sees us the way that God designed us and stewards us and loves us into becoming the person on the other side of that forgiveness.
Yes. So good.
And that for me was one of the biggest things. And actually, why I have this podcast is because I am a man of extremes. And I was like, well, I'm just going to be publicly accountable to my shortcomings
I love it.
that are opportunities for growth for me because I understand my default is to hide out of a place of guilt, blame, fault, or shame. And so I used public, which allowed me to start opening up to people. And so for me, that is the forgiveness piece, is like the beautiful gift that we bring to this world is our humanity. It's
Mm.
not that we have it figured out. It's not that we have all the answers. It's not that we're the perfect cookie cutter approach. It's our
Yeah.
authentic journey through this process because there's no finish line.
Beautiful.
And the second part reminds me of the parable of the talents, where I used to be like, I'm called for so much greatness, but why don't I have Marcus's greatness? Why don't I have
Mm.
John's greatness? Why don't I have X? And instead of being grateful for what I did have, which is the blessing to get more, I would downplay my own talent, my own gift,
Yeah.
because I would always fall into the comparison trap. And so, ironically, what that did is it dissipated my current talent and what I could use
Yes.
for it, because I was like, this isn't enough. I'm supposed to be further along. I'm supposed to have more listeners on the podcast. I'm supposed to have more followers on social media. Why am I not speaking to audiences that big as I'm standing on
Mm.
stage? And I'm like, I'm disrespecting the one that I was just given. Of course, I'm not going to get another one. Of course, it's not going to grow. And I love that when it comes to our
Mm.
talents, like our talents are assigned to us as a gift, like a child, but it's how we steward and honor those talents that allows them to create the impact we want, but also increase our capacity and our maturity to hold a bigger one.
Yes.
And so for me, fulfillment was really deeply rooted in having to also, on the other side of forgiveness and identity, not be okay with what I had, but to be radically in love with what I have and let
Yes.
that be enough. And that's what unlocked the next one and the next one and the next one.
Beautiful. Beautiful, brother. Can I give you some encouragement right now?
I would love that.
I imagine, and I can't imagine I'm wrong about this, that you, every time you go to be vulnerable, you are going to struggle with it on air. You're going to struggle with like, should I share this? It's totally natural because we're like, yeah, but no, I want you to see my good side. And I'm not going to, no, I'll hold back on the bad side. It's such a weird fallacy because nobody wants to hear from the guy who's got it all perfect. We don't. We think we do. And honestly, it's why the first thing I wanted to start with is, hey, can we start with what baggage I have and what a mess I was? Because if you only see a guy with a nice suit and a good haircut, you go, I can't learn anything from this guy. But brother, people are so drawn to you because of your vulnerability, because it's like, hey, here's the crap I'm going through today. And by the way, I have a lot together. I struggle with so much crap every single day still. If you think, oh, when I get to his point, it's all going to be over. Nope. I'm sorry. Let me fix that for you right now. Nope. This is a forever journey. And I love that it's a forever journey. And the second thing is, it's insane that you brought up the parable of the talents. It's insane. And by the way, everyone listening, we did not plan this. It is so meant to be that you brought up the 5 talents. By the way, I don't know my time. How are we doing for time? Because I got a story to tell you.
Tell me the story. We got 15 minutes plus. Tell me the story.
Brilliant. I want to, and I just want everyone to know, I have yet to be on a podcast to share this story, because it's been a story over 4 years in the making that just came to fulfillment in the last 30 days. And so I'm really excited to share this. But I feel like I'm also, I don't want to cut things off like, hey, let's focus on me.
You're not, this is a perfect time.
Yeah. Did that encouragement land with you, brother?
100%. So thank you. Received.
Beautiful. And I know everybody listening is like nodding their head right now going, yeah, that's why we tune in, George. You got to share more of this stuff and don't stop struggling. We need, okay. So 4 years ago plus, I'm still CEO of Magnum. This is my big company. I had no inclination that I'd be selling anytime soon. God hadn't shown me any of that. And I had a prophetic dream. I woke up knowing with certainty God had shown me a glimpse of the future. Every cell in my body showed me that this was going to happen in my future. And it was just one word that I woke up with: finance. No idea what it meant. I went into prayer right away. I'm like, oh, awesome, God. Like right now, sell my business. He goes, whoa. Just a seed. I'll tell you later. Okay. Within 48 hours, I get together with my brother, who had just come to Jesus recently through a beautiful program called Alpha that we did together. And he goes, bro, I never share dreams. I think it's hokey to share dreams, but I have to share this one with you. God gave me this dream, but it's for you. I don't understand it. It's just one word, finance. Does that mean anything to you? And I'm like, come on. Back into prayer. God, is it now? And he goes, no. Just making sure you got the message, just planting the seed. Okay. George, I'm sure you're very much like me. I'm not going to walk into my future that one day and be like, okay, kindergarten starts today. I hope in the next 5 to 10 years I learn something. I know finances in my future. So I go, I got to learn, and I'm going to learn from the best. I've been blessed to know I don't want to go to kindergarten. I can probably start in grade 4 or 5 and learn from the brightest. And yeah, I'll have to spend money to be in the right rooms, to get in the right conversations. And so that's what I did. To give you an idea, I've spent $500,000 now on being in those right rooms and learning from the right people. And please don't tune me out if anybody's like, well, I don't have $500,000. That's fine. But maybe you have $50 to learn from someone above what you think you should be learning from. And I also want to say this in my vulnerability. Right away, I felt very blessed to have this notion that, like, it feels like men are usually born with this concept of being able to invest properly. I was not. It reminds me very much of asking for directions. Like, oh, you don't ask for direction. You be a man. Okay, I call me not a man if you want, but I wasn't born with this talent to invest. I'm going to get to the end of the story in a moment, but I want to share with you the most profound week of learning that I had was with Tony Robbins, who's been my mentor for 32 years now. I did a week at Finance Mastery. This is a brilliant course. It's his only course that, one, you have to be a platinum, you have to be in the inner circle, and you can't bring a guest. And it's because it's just so much value in this room. Walking into this room, I've had hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars go through my hands. I've been in business for over 30 years. I thought, hey, I know a thing or two about how money works. I left that week knowing that I walked into that week with a kindergartner's education. That is a rough truth. And I couldn't help but have my heart break going, if that's me with great learning, great experience, like I've had money, what chance does the average guy have to get ahead? And it makes perfect sense why the average person who wins the lottery loses every dollar of it plus in less than 4 years. It makes perfect sense. But now let's skip ahead. In these years, I've sold businesses, I've written best-selling books, I've had time on my hands, I've been mentoring, each time praying, God, is it now? Is it now? Is it soon? What's happening? Nothing. I like to think of it like the fanometer at a sports game. Nope, not even moving. And then I woke up in December one morning, and it was go time. Every cell in my body, I knew it was go time. He started sending me amazing people in my life. I got a new mentor in this field. I've never had a guy like this in my life who's a mentor like this. I have all the right people surround me. I'm building up what I know is going to be a fund that I will run. December 30th, he had me write this down. I had a prayer at night. So the next morning, I'm scheduled to start paying for the lawyers, paying for the accountants, paying for the administration. It's about $150,000, $175,000. And so I turned to God one more time and I go, God, tomorrow I start spending money and I don't want to do that if it's not from you. Please treat me like a 2-year-old and give me the most obvious sign that nobody could miss. Amen. George, I woke up in the morning. I happened to be checking my bank account for another reason. There was an additional $200,000 that showed up in my account that morning. If you wanted a simple, obvious sign, you got it, brother. And by the way, for anyone wondering, it was an investment that paid off that I forgot was going to happen. But God chose to have it at that exact moment just to say, you're on the path. And so this is what I'm doing with my life. And it's all of a sudden, like, yeah, I've been called to it for 4 years. Yeah, I've been educating myself on it for 4 years, but I didn't know if it was going to be another 4 or 40 years until it started. Brother, I haven't been this full of life in over 20 years
Mm.
because I'm building something new. And with 100% certainty, this is the path that God has me on.
Mm. I love that. I love that so much. And I just have to summarize it for my own clarities and takeaways and
Please.
vulnerabilities and the way that I've internalized a lot of this similar journey. And everybody on this podcast knows, like, I've been navigating a divorce. I'm trying to be the best father I can, the best ex-husband I can to steward all of this. And I've prayed a lot about this and reflected a lot. And I realized that number one is that there's a lot of things that I prayed for, but I never made the bed for them to land.
Wow.
And in order for a prayer to be answered, the container has to be created for it to land.
Beautiful.
That's part one. And part two is that in order for it to be landed, I have to be unattached, whether it does or not, and I have to pursue it and steward it, no matter what sheets get put on that bed, no matter the thread count, no matter the pillow or lack thereof. My job is to create the bed and then to love, steward, honor, and pursue whatever lands in that bed. And that is the biggest summary that I could give of this entire conversation. Because my identity is to be obedient to God and to be the man that He made me to be, and not to desire something I don't have, but to maximize the gifts that He's given me in the parable of the talents. And in order to do that, I had to forgive a lot of people, including myself, where I get trapped in the thinking and I get trapped in the story, and I'm worried more about how somebody sees me or how they perceive me,
Yeah.
rather than how God sees me and God perceives me, which led me to realize that the father that I never built a relationship with was God. And that's the one that I'm the most interested in
Yeah.
and the only one that matters to me, which leads me to fulfillment, which is not, I'll be happy when, I'll change when, I'll start when.
Yeah.
It's the moment I'm fulfilled with what I have and I treat it the same as if it was everything I ever desired. Things of my wildest imagination come true because my thinking and my creativity is not even in the same universes of God's divinity and what's possible. And it is an active pursuit. It is a daily pursuit of oscillating between those three, because the way I see it, the identity is the foundation. The forgiveness has to be a part of my everyday. And when those two work in unison, I'm fulfilled, not because of the things of this world, but because the things after this world, I just happen to live in this world. And anytime I've struggled, it's because I've allowed the things in this world to dictate my identity, to create comparison, and then to convince me that there's something missing, and all that's doing is robbing me of the present and the things that I truly desire. And so it's living in this symbiotic relationship every single day and never losing sight of it.
Beautiful.
And truthfully, spending more and more time to make those the priority and less time in the world, which makes me more effective in the world. And so that's how I would summarize for me personally, just this entire conversation, which your story so eloquently articulates for everybody listening to this. It could be anything. It could be a partnership. It could be a relationship. And the last thing that I'll share is that there were things that I prayed for years, even before I was saved, because there was a part of me that knew that none of this was an accident, but I wasn't really ready to surrender. And now, with the gift of hindsight, every one of those prayers were answered, except I didn't have the identity to see them directly in front of me.
So
And so for me, if you're listening to this, take that for what it is for you. But in order to hear the song that you pray for, you got to be tuned into the right radio station and the speakers have to be on.
Yes.
And your example is a perfect one, and so is mine. And I have hundreds of stories of this over and over. And so, though, I have two questions to ask you as we land this plane. Number one is for anybody listening to this, and you said this at the very beginning of the show, like, don't wait today, now, pause the podcast. Just as a triage nurse writing a prescription, like what would be the thing or the few things that you would invite everybody to do from your perspective?
Take action immediately. You know what the action is. That I know how many people are like, but I don't know what action to take. That's not true. Take 1 minute to go. Let's say I was sitting in front of you right now, or you know George better. George is sitting in front of you right now, and he goes, what's one action you can take that's going to move you today? Move you in the right direction of who you're supposed to be. One action. Give it 1 minute, you'll have 5 good answers. And then just do it. The difference between people who are experiencing fulfillment and experiencing success in life and those who are not are just people who take action and do it every day. Yes, once is not enough. Just if you've ever failed on a diet and exercise plan, which we all have, including myself many, many times, what did you do? You went to the gym for 1 day or 1 week or 1 month and went, I'm not getting anywhere. Yeah, because 1 day or 1 week or 1 month is not enough to change things. It takes one, and then you just keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going. And the people who succeed are the ones who just stay on the path longest. I am a perfect example of this. I do not believe I was born with these crazy great gifts. I am somebody who has one major talent: consistency. I just stay on the road longer, and people just keep dropping off and dropping off and dropping off. And what happens? Oh, wow. I'm one of only 5 people left on this road. There's a lot of benefits for people who are one of 5. I just stay longer. I'm at the gym. I'm at the gym. I'm at the gym. I don't lift the heaviest. I don't go the hardest. I'm not someone you go, that guy lifts with so much heart. Nope. But I'm there all the time. I don't skip workouts. It's just part of my life. And whatever you're being called to do, just take action on it today. Stop overthinking it. Not but. Does that but serve you in any way? Change it today. Before you ask the second question, which I'm so psyched to hear, I didn't say why 5 talent is such a crazy parable for you to choose.
Close the loop. Tell me.
1, it's my favorite parable. 2, it's the way I live my life. That I've been given these talents. I have to use them for him. I have to, because when he comes back, I'm going to hand it back with so much interest. I've gained these extra 5 for you, Lord. But also, I do live in a bit of fear, and it's not because he's a vengeful God by any means. But any talent he's given me that I won't use, I'm not using, he's going to pluck it from me and give it to somebody else for very good reason. Because someone he has chosen needs that person to show up with that talent to get through to him. And if you're going, not me, okay, no problem. I'm just going to take that in the most loving way. I'm going to give it over here. I keep begging every single day, God, if there's a single talent you've given me that I'm not using, will you show it to me? Holy Spirit, light it up for me. Let me use it. I don't want you to take it away. I want to use it for you. And I love the parable so much that my new company is called 5 Talent Capital. Come on, bro. Come on.
I just got goosies everywhere.
Yeah, buddy.
Everywhere. And I'm stealing that prayer.
Do it, brother.
I'm totally stealing that prayer because that lands deeply for me.
Yes.
And so the last question is, I want you to imagine that everybody listening to this podcast forgot absolutely everything that we talked about. but from this moment on, next 30 seconds, next 60 seconds, whatever you say is going to tattoo into their soul that they will take with them forever.
Mm.
What would your tattoo wisdom be?
Oh, man. If you're watching, can you look in my eyes right now? And if you're listening, just know that I'm staring right into you. I believe in you so much. You were put on this planet for such a beautiful purpose, and it's big, and it's more amazing than you can imagine. We really need you to step into that role. We were blessed with only one of you. Exactly who you are, with every scar you have. In fact, the scars, we need you to own those scars. Don't bandage them up and hide them from us. We need to see them. The fact that you have those scars is going to reach a very specific person who needs you and is going to complete you and complete your fulfillment. I believe in you. You do have the strength. You were made for this. You were made for something so incredible and so beautiful. No matter what you've gone through, you are awesome and you will be used and you're loved.
Lord, just please take that message and plant it as a seed in everybody that just heard this, that just saw this, and water it and create massive amounts of fruit of it, Lord. For you, for this world, for the person listening. And I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Brother, I thank you. I'm grateful for this conversation. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful to God for the timing and for everybody listening. I am grateful for the gift that you gave us both, which is your attention. And so my one ask, and normally I summarize these shows, but I already did that a minute ago. I just implore you to let this be the last nudge you needed to choose one thing different today. To do something that your future self will say thank you for.
Yeah.
To pick one action, one story, one question, one exercise, and love it like you deserve to love it because you're worth it, and take it seriously. Consistency with all of this. Practice it, lean into it. But the size of your garden is dictated by the depth of your love for the seed when you plant it.
Beautiful.
So honor it and be patient with it and know that it's paying off. But just like I can't go to the gym for one day and be upset I don't have a six-pack, I can't treat anything else in life like it. And you are the most valuable asset on this planet. You are the unique selling proposition. You are the differentiating factor. And I want you to make that the number one priority. Treat yourself first. Give to yourself first. Steward yourself first. Go into yourself with the same vigor that you do for clients, that you do for friends, that you do for your children, and let the overflow of love that you give yourself spill onto everybody else, but make it first. And so, Markus, I didn't ask, and I'm going to put this in the intro for sure, but where the heck can everybody find you and connect with you?
Oh, thank you, brother. Can I just first say thank you for who you are, brother? Man, this has been such a blessing to me. I have loved spending this time. And if your earlier offer still stands, even after I ran my mouth like I did, I will come back anytime.
Well, please.
And we don't always have to film it. I just want to keep spending time with you. I love you, man.
Thank you,
And I'd love to give a gift to the show right now. Everybody listening, we are in a voyeuristic world. Will you take action today to bless the Mind of George show and go leave a 5-star review? It makes a big difference. More people will see it. Plus, if you want to take that extra step to show extra love, I know there's something in the show today that you're like, "Oh, I was thinking about my sister. I was thinking about my best friend, my brother." Share it with them and send a little message that says, I was thinking about you and I care about you." We don't do enough of that human connection anymore, so let's do a little bit of that. It's so easy. It takes 2 seconds. You share it. It's something is gonna stand out to them. And so I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for everybody listening. I'm so grateful for you, George. And if you want to connect with me, I'd love to connect with you. Why don't we say, hit me up on Instagram?
Mm.
It's probably the easiest place to find me. My new website is coming out right now. You can, I know my name is super easy to spell, markuskaulius.com. But hit me up on Instagram. And by the way, I'm big on educating people about how money works. My fund is all about teaching people. If you want to learn more about that, I'd love for you to reach out to me. And what the fund was designed for, God gave me this one. I am going to pull 1 million children out of the sex trade.
Mm.
How's that for a decent cause, eh, brother?
Mm-hmm. 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 We talked about that at church on Sunday.
Oh, snap.
Hello, God's sense of humor and serendipitous. So consider me in your corner. Not like you need one, but I'm a really good pit bull.
I
So
believe you.
like I'm here, brother. I'm here, and I just thank you. And for everybody listening, I will have everything linked in the show notes. I'll have Markus's Instagram. I'll have his website. I'll have his books. And brother, just thank you. Thank you for your words. Thank you for your embodied example. Thank you for the gift of your time and your presence. And so for everybody listening, this has been another episode of the Mind of George Show. So we will either see you in the next episode or you will hear me in your ear balls. But either way, we're done for today.